Tina, can you take the roll, please?
I can. I'm just going to start my thing. The connection for this recorder is broken, so I'm hoping this lasts long enough to record the whole meeting.
Okay.
If not, I'll have to watch it on YouTube.
Well, there's the advantage of YouTube, Tina.
All right. Donna Susek.
Here.
Walter Crucell.
Here.
Nina Sakala.
Here.
Bob Crisati.
Here.
Marie Peisner.
Here.
Scott Ryder.
Here.
Tim Neville.
Here.
Doug McSellen. Tina LeBlanc. Jonathan LeBlanc.
Here.
Charlotte Riley.
Charlotte has scouts tonight. She may join us later.
Okay. Bethany Olette.
Here.
Melissa Everett. Did I hear Melissa or no?
I don't see Melissa on yet.
Okay. Jaime Cisneros. Jeff Leonowitz.
Here.
Chris Sitely.
Here.
Okay. Is there anybody else on? I see Sam DiAgostino is on as well.
Yep, I'm here with CSG.
Okay. I think I got everybody.
Great.
Okay, Donna.
Okay, so everybody got their minutes.
Yep.
Okay, I get a motion to accept the minutes from the 28th.
So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor, show of hands.
Aye.
All that are here, and I think Gina's in favor. She's,
Sorry, talking to my kid. Yes.
I can tell. I was getting those mom vibes. Okay, we have no special guests tonight. So the first three, A, B, and C. Scott, you wanna, Chris, you wanna catch us up on the Henry Barnard?
Sure. We're just waiting. They have the, well, one, there's no update. Phase 2, there's no update. Phase 3, they do have the boiler flue extension. They're just waiting. They can't. Get up there
Waiting for good
safely.
weather.
Right. They can't install it safely. So as soon
That's
as
fine.
they get to that point, they'll put that on and then we'll close that out. I am pushing them to do that because I do
Okay,
want
yep.
to.
Well, yeah, because it'd be nice to, since we've done everything, get that moisture right out of that chimney.
Right, but I also just want to close the project out. I want to have
Yes,
the final bill
yeah,
and
right.
pay, and then submit it to the state. So, I am trying to work with him to get that installed.
Do
For
you
phase 3.
think, do you have any idea on the phase 2 when we would be? They seem to be very slow at the state.
Yeah, I had a conversation earlier today with Michelle at the state, and she said she was going to look into it and give me a call back. I haven't heard back from her. I might hear tomorrow. If not, I'll give her a call tomorrow.
Okay, thanks very much, Chris.
Sure.
Okay. So D and E, we have the design started on the Eli Whitney and the Hazel Memorial?
Designs, yes. Hazardous material samples have been taken. There is a report. I believe there is some minor asbestos on Eli Whitney that we will manage. I don't believe the Hazardville report came back yet. At least I don't think I've seen a copy of that. So we're still waiting on that one. But yes,
Okay.
that design has started.
Okay, and when will we, I just want to keep the timeline, Chris, because you worked really hard to get this in so that we're all on the same page for knowing when we're going to have to approve the design so that we can proceed in a timely fashion.
Right. I am hoping, I'm hoping that we'll get an approval. We'll get our grant commitment letter by the end of February so that we can then, we can approve the design in early March, get into the state for the approval to go out to bid in March, and then bid it in April, May-ish timeframe, and be able to have somebody on board late May.
Okay. All right, I'll just keep asking the questions because I know everybody's doing the work they need to do. Thank you.
Sure.
Any questions from the committee on any of the roof? Okay, great. Okay, roof referendum. Jeff, I'm going to turn over to you. I think that where we left it last time is we would be in favor of bringing the roof referendum that we had approved in July of 2020 to the council for them to move forward with.
That's correct. So I believe when we last stood off, the committee asked me to find a $13.5 million referendum. And I took a look at what we have left to do, excluding the work with Eli and Hazardville Memorial. I'm assuming we're just going to keep CIP route in progress till the completion. So you will not see these in my suggested list, and I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, thank you.
Moment. All right, everybody can see my proposal.
Yes.
So pretty much what I'm thinking would be the Parkman, Stowe, Crandall, Enfield Street. Total for the Board of Ed buildings, right around 7.7 million. Follow that up with, on the town side, public safety, Alcorn, and the annex. I chose these locations, especially the annex and Alcorn, after the facilities consolidation went through. It seems that we have a lot of focused improvements going on top of, putting more departments in these buildings. So it makes sense to invest in the roof at this time, especially the annex being well outside the range of pre-referendum spending. The grand total for this project is just a little north of 13.5. It's 13.578,530. With that, there's a potential of 5 million, little over 5 million, almost 5.5 million in potential state reimbursements for the school roofs, which would really mean a potential town cost of 8.1 million for a $13.5 million project. So this is actually a very good investment, and I would suggest the committee look at this, review it. I would love to hear your input, but I think this is a very smart and strategic approach to handle the larger roofs. The rest of the municipal roofs, again, we can pair them off and continue our pre-referendum CIP traditional spend. But the Alcorn, the annex, they're just so large. Even the Jablonski's a large roof, but there seems to be a lot of potential improvements with, renovations and other items. But again, Jablonski is, 50,000 square foot building. As a reminder, a lot of that's a highway garage. So, repairing a roof over a truck, if you will, isn't as critical as, say, where people are sitting. So we can still slice and dice, if you will, Jablonski in small sections and do smart approaches. And I'm proposing some things in CIP I'm working with Donald on, as we go through our planning process. So I'm sure that will be going to the town manager in the not too distant future anyway. So again, this is the list I'm suggesting the committee bring to review. And if we were to pursue this, this would be the list I would like to move forward with your blessings to the council.
Okay, let's open it up for discussion. Comments? Marie?
Well, I have a question. Okay, so I'm looking at all these buildings. So this will encompass all the buildings that the town hall is not going to be brought in there, correct?
That would be correct.
All right, and I mean, I know we're looking at selling some buildings. So this will be the buildings that you
Also
feel,
there.
Donut.
what's that?
None of the buildings we're intending to sell are there.
Okay, so none of the buildings, I understand that. I'm just looking at this and saying, okay, so we have other buildings in town that still need repair. Am I right or wrong?
You're very correct.
Okay, so if we're gonna go to referendum for roofs, and technically we're below the 13.5 at this point, with the 70% back, we're looking at, 8 million. What other, I mean, is it a time where we should add other roofs in there?
Not gonna get it.
That would be a really good question for bond counsel and the way finance funds these projects.
We have
The roofs that I
Melissa here.
excluded
Yeah.
are approachable in CIP. Again, on a municipal level, with the exception of a few, like the Jablonski, Alcorn, and the Annex, Town Hall is a perfect example. That's a pre-referendum limit CIP.
Okay.
Shingles are so much easier to change. The real challenge with Town Hall is the slope of the roof. So we're gonna pay through our noses for scaffolding. That's
Okay.
just the reality. But yeah, I mean, a lot of that I would still just approach with CIP, even some of the items that weren't really in the consolidation, but part of the BL, like the animal control facility over at Parsons Road there. There seems to be an interest to bring it up to Moody Road. Again, that roof is very small. It's about $20,000. We could do that ourselves in-house. So, this is going to be a concurrent plan. If this was to go through, we wouldn't not be doing other roofs anyways. They'd just be part of our traditional CIP approach.
Okay, the reason I'm asking this is because other people are watching this around town. And I think this is a good time to explain why these are the buildings that we're choosing. So,
And also the town hall roof, if you go to your master thing, it was done in '06.
right, but again, Donna, other people are watching this besides us. So there are people that are watching this, and I think that gave a good explanation as to why we're picking these buildings to go on the roof
Right, and we
referendum.
also need to tell them that the roof is too young.
Right, so Jeff's explanation was good. So thank you, Jeff.
No problem. I do want to reiterate one thing. There's some questions I won't be able to answer quite directly, and they'd probably have to go to bond counsel and finance directly. Even though, there's a potential town cost of $8 million after reimbursement. I'm not sure of how that words legally with the charter and some of the other things. So if there's a list of questions, just send them my way, and I'm sure we can get it, to the right people to have it answered properly. I would not have an answer for you for that tonight.
That would show us a $13.5 million referendum. We have to show the full amount.
I believe you're
And then we
correct. I
show how
think
much-
that's what we had to do last year.
Okay, Tim, you had your hand up?
Yeah, Donna, it's a question about the reimbursement for the school roofs. It's marked at 70%. We've been pretty fortunate to keep that for a while, but that gets changed every year. Is that taken into effect in putting these figures together?
No, so the reimbursement, well, I guess yes and no. So our cost is going to hold firm in that where you see the 3% column. That's taking into a 3% inflationary cost year over. And I'm earmarking that potential state reimbursement. As we all know, it's dictated by the state annually with their budget through the
Right.
comptroller and their process. I'm not going to bet the farm on what we could get because, it's very conservative. I believe with the last projects, even with and I could be misspeaking, but I think when John Wilcox presented some of the funding scenarios and the transfers, like he even goes lower with like 60%. So, it'd be a marketing strategy, I think, not so much something, we could guarantee ourselves with, because, this is roughly a 5-6 year referendum. So there's a lot of time, and there's going to be a few state budgets to go through during the course of this project. So it's based on how we apply and when we apply. So it's kind of, unfortunately speculative. So you're right. Lately, we've been getting somewhere between 70 and 71 point something percent.
Right.
I'm sure Chris could speak to it a little bit more clearly between Enfield High and then JFK and the last few roofs. So it kind of boils down. We've been averaging 70. So I'm just assuming, and we all know what happens when you assume, but based on historical reference, 70 is kind of like what we've been getting. So that's just, an idea. Again, probably more of a marketing strategy, but it's an idea.
I agree with you. Again, as we were speaking before, there's a lot of people who watch this. I don't want anybody to come up and say, you guys are misleading us. That's the only thing.
Well, that's why I put potential, even at the very bottom where it says potential town costs, it's potential. There's nothing written in stone.
Fine. Thanks, Jeff.
You're very welcome.
Bring it up.
Okay, any more questions, concerns, comments?
So I can just update you quickly. Right now, our current reimbursement rate is 70.71. Going forward, it's going down to 7% even.
Okay,
70% even?
Yep.
70% even.
Okay.
a lot
for
of
any
that's
grant-
based on
for-
our
for-
demographics, correct?
That's for any grant that's for any grant that's submitted after July 1st of 21.
Thank you, Chris.
Sure.
Any more comments? I asked for this to go on the agenda for the first March meeting. Does that work for you, Jeff?
Sure.
And that'll be in the court of the town council because that would be their decision to go through and take this to referendum. Anybody? I guess I'm gonna ask for a motion and a vote on that so that we make sure that everybody is on board for this going to the town council for referendum consideration.
So
Tim?
moved. So moved.
Okay, Tim first and
Second.
Bob seconding. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, can I have a show of hands? All in favor?
Hi.
Thank you, Gina. Okay, thanks. Are all in favor who are present? I see Tom actually joined us. Tom Hibbard. Thank you, Jeff. That's, that's exactly what we want to do. I mean, we're in favor of it in July. I think that, going concurrently is the way to go. And we'll get some work done and we'll hopefully get a nice 3-year plan.
Absolutely.
That is the time frame, right, Jeff? Is it
That
3 or 5?
that referendum is a 5-year plan.
5-year plan. Okay, thank you.
Unfortunately, some of those roofs, I'm going to be reaching out to some people at the Board of Ed, but I would like to include the additions that kind of were built between 2000, 2003, 2004. So some of them would be kind of going back based on when the audits were approved. My hope is to just kind of get through all those schools in their entirety. That would be lovely.
Okay,
And we
so
couldn't
what we-
execute those before our 20-year grace period, if you will.
Okay, so what we did with the roads is that you have to, when you do a referendum, you have to specifically say what you're doing, but should costs come in, at a better rate or, or if something gets done and we take it off the list, we haven't, usually with roads, we
Contingency
have an
list.
auxiliary list
Mhm.
of roads that would be done with this referendum so that the public is aware of the fact that these are our primary roads or our primary routes. But should we do some stuff through CIP and free up that referendum money, these other routes or roads would come in their place and be part of that referendum. So if you can see that if we could do that, because we have something where we get some CIP money and we get a section of roof done that was in the referendum. We want to be able to free that money up to do some of your other roofs, like the additions that were done on the elementary schools.
Absolutely, Deputy Mayor. So very much like the presentation I gave last year with our contingency list, it's going to be manipulated to kind of suit this primary objective. And I have a list of contingency municipal properties that I'd like to continue to invest in, like obviously Jablonski and some of the other things. So there'll be our primary route and year target, and then there'll be a follow-up list with a known figure. And it's depending on how things come in. If the market's favorable, materials are going at a great rate, and we're completely killing it and we're making it happen, you know, great. We'll take that 13.5 and run it as deep as I can go with it for sure. So you'll see a presentation. I'm not sure if the committee would like to see it before it makes it to council, but it'll be very similar to what I presented last time.
I don't know. For me, I think it could go right to council. We've looked at, it, you know, sufficient amount of time and we're confident in what you do. Anybody who's not in favor of that?
No, that's fine.
Hey, Jeff, this is Scott.
Yes.
I would just ask that you refer to this as the rooferendum, and then that'll help us market it.
And that's why you're in marketing, Scott.
I am not a marketing major, so I will take all the hooks and sinkers that you guys can throw my way. I'll just provide you with the information.
That'll separate us from the road arendum and the other arendums going on.
We're boring engineers over here at DPW. We're not hip and, well, I can't speak for everybody. There's some that are very graphically gifted, but I am not one of them.
Okay. Any more comments on the roofing referendum? Okay. On to the elementary schools, windows and vestibules. And I really want to make people understand it's the vestibules go with the schools. The windows are all the buildings. So I guess, how's the coordination going with joint securities? Jonathan?
We don't meet again until March, the first Wednesday of March at 8:30 in the morning at to be determined whether that's live or via Zoom. But I'm in a separate meeting with Gary coming up, so I can ask him about that, but it should be done in conjunction with, yes.
Right. And do you want me to on the next, because that's the second, in March, we will meet on the 11th. Do you want me to put an executive session on the 11th if Gary would like to come in and explain some of the pitfalls to us, or?
Yeah, that would probably be best. Just have it
Okay.
as a line item, and then we can invite Gary to join us for a few minutes.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Okay, well, because we've had them before and we've talked about, you know, vestibules and what kind of grant money is available and things like that. But I think we should probably send, you know, the joint committee, joint facilities and the security, a plan to the town manager for what we believe vestibules should be done on the buildings. And I think that should be done sooner than later based on, first of all, security, and second of all, the things that I've seen going on with, you know, COVID considerations, that these vestibules on the buildings seem to afford, you know, the public and our employees an area that's sort of a step, you know, out of one, I call it being in your bubble, out of one bubble into the next bubble, where you can feel secure and feel safe and feel that you're being respectful of everybody else. So that's my opinion. What does everybody else feel about the vestibules? Tim?
Donna, I'm fine with the vestibules that way. My question really has to do with the meeting and bringing Gary in, security in there. That would have to be an executive session. I thought Scott was saying. Okay, just as long as it's clear.
It's, you know, it needs to be just for a comfort factor.
Right,
I'm sure we can discuss things in general,
yeah.
but I think that I feel more comfortable with him in executive session, and that is something that we can do.
Right,
Any
we
more-
can't discuss any addresses of buildings that have or don't have or that are on the list.
Correct,
Correct.
right.
Can you just go over the
First-
timeline again?
Donna, just,
Okay, go ahead, Bob.
yeah, just one thing. I believe some of the schools or a majority of the schools have vestibules. Is that correct?
This is what we only want to discuss in executive session, Bob.
Yeah, no, got it. Okay,
That's what I was
I
saying. We
know
can't
which ones
discuss,
do, but I'm not telling you.
I know.
we can't
I know.
discuss specific
Well,
addresses.
we'll deal with that. But I'm in favor of looking into this, and I'm just looking at the agenda notes and reviewing the 2014 costs and the construction going up approximately 4% per year. So I think we're long overdue for it.
Absolutely. And I briefly looked at the windows, and the windows are like $5 million. So, I mean, these are the
Okay.
things, we need to really address it. So we're going to do the coordination. Who had a question on the timeline? Was that
Yeah,
you?
Donna, I
Yep.
did. Just,
But thank you.
I'm trying to time it up with the, I guess, the joint security. So can we just review the timeline again one more time?
Because I guess
Like Scott,
you're meeting on the 4th. Is that what Scott said, of March?
It's the first Wednesday of the month.
3rd of March. So on the 3rd of March, you can discuss it with them and see if Gary can join us for the 11th, and maybe, come with some ideas as to what we would like to do. And that'll have to be brought, I guess, the problem is that has to go into the budget. I mean, it feels like, we want to do these things. We don't want to, discuss security things in open, formats, but yet eventually we have to put it as a budgetary item to do those schools. So we're kind of in a catch-22.
Yeah, I don't know, now that we're talking about item B under G, so kind of referring to the costs, and there was an ask for, some very high level estimates, based on what we've experienced with other building materials, based on inflation, based on the newer windows that have been evolved, and I'm not sure which would, again, this would be good questions for Gary in executive session, because there's different levels of types of security windows and whatnot. But just kind of throwing some really high level numbers out there. We are at approximately $8 million, give or take, for windows and labor. What I would like to make a note of, we need to get a lot of engineering and architectural support. There's approximately $1.4 million in required support. And what that would include is getting an architect and an engineering company in to select the windows, get them to fit within the building, calling out a specification that we want to build to, meet the requirements, apply to the state for what's reimbursable, non-reimbursable. Now we also have to engage an environmental consultant. They're going to have to go in, assume, and test. So the reason I say assume, some building materials, we acknowledge their presence, but don't, put a number to them. Other ones we need to test for, such as lead and asbestos, especially with what's called facilities with children. So when they're children occupied, a certain set of regulations and protocols go into effect, and they get very stringent, more so with lead than it does with asbestos. So all these things have to go into effect. Then we have to have a abatement plan before we can get an abatement contractor. So it would be all part of the demolition drawing. So, I would say it's a good conversation to get started with. And, out of all seriousness, considering, getting money put aside to start really engaging these professionals, because it's going to be a lot of engineering work and environmental work just to do everything properly before we actually put the windows in. So I just wanted to throw that out there, but, very high level, this is an $8 million, well over $8 million project.
Well, I know that our staff is doing some of the vestibules on the buildings.
That would be correct. I believe they've done work on a lot of the stuff in the past. I know with the Eagle Academy, we've done some things. I don't want to say anything that's wrong, misleading, or can and can't say on public, airwaves. So I'm going to be very careful. But I do realize we renovated Stowe internally, and I do realize we built Eagle Academy. So I am aware we have done things before in the past.
Right. So, I mean, we have very capable staff, and that's, and maybe that's something what we need to look at, our vestibules pulled out separately. And, can we do those, concurrently within budget, and
Yeah.
will windows have to go to referendum?
Vestibules are so much more within range, Deputy Mayor. And I think understanding what we need to do, I think there's a greater pull for having a sit down between the committees and kind of following a concurrent path where we could install certain materials, use state contract, and pick away at it, if you will, as in individual projects. We could probably do a lot of this well with under referendum as individual improvements at a location, because it'd be independently their own. So you're very right. The vestibules would probably be a lot easier than the windows as a whole.
We have a lot of work to do on that.
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to more comments and, clarifications from our committee. Okay. Now the windows, could you clarify something for me, Jeff? Did we do all the windows in the town hall?
So yes, they were in phases. We had our last big phase last winter. If anybody was lucky enough to experience a window change in January. So yeah, I know, right? It's one of those fun facts, but we did get it all done. They were all done. We did those ourselves. We ordered the windows and we cut out the middleman. So we were going straight to the manufacturer. Manufacturer built them to order, and our staff put them in. And I realized that some of the people may have noticed how much warmer it is before our little hiatus from the council chambers, but I'm sure the Board of Ed officiants and the town council may have noticed it's so much less drafty at the dais. So it's quite amazing what a modern window can do for you. And hopefully it rubs off on the heating bill.
Okay, great. Okay, so because I was looking at the chart, really, when we look at windows, the majority of the windows that need to be done are the schools.
Yeah, the schools are there. There are town buildings that do need windows, but it really comes down to, again, it's the size of the facility. Town buildings on a whole are 20,000 and less square feet. They're just easier to digest. You get into the high school, the former Fermi, now the annex. These are just large buildings, and you're going to have to phase just based on how large they are. And they have traditionally a different style. They have a lot of these storefront types, and they're different features. Or town hall is a very straightforward double hung. So it's just one of those things.
I think everybody was happy to get those windows.
Yeah, town hall looks great, especially all painted and retrimmed. It's coming along quite well. I have a lot of things I'd love to do down there too. So it's not the only thing I want done at town hall. Just FYI.
All right. So I even hate to put this out there, but okay. So we're bringing the roof referendum forward to the council. Do you think there needs to be a windows referendum?
Not the same year.
No way.
No.
Not
Okay,
right
that's
now.
what I'm looking for
Trying to-
comments for.
Too much. Too much at once.
Road referendum coming.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
That's my opinion, though.
Right. Well, sort of my
Say-
opinion
yeah,
as
my-
well, Gina, but I need to hear from everybody. Thank you.
That's
I'm
my
not-
opinion as well.
Bob, what do you think?
At this point in time, I do not think it's a good idea
Okay.
to go to
We should
referendum.
get a
At this
plan,
point.
though.
Yes, I
Jonathan?
agree with the plan. There's no question.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I just had a question for Jeff in regards to what we were talking about. Do you think with the town properties that you would possibly cut out the middleman again for the town buildings? I mean, I don't know which ones they are, but
Well, we try to do as much work internally with our own staff as possible, but there's a give and take. So our daily charter is, operational maintenance and, safety. So we have to maintain the property. Then we do, construction work on top of it. So there's a, very gentle give and take. Depending on how aggressive the timelines are and what else is going on in town. Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna do as much as we can with our own staff because, well, one, why not? Two, it's cheaper and it's smart. And three, I think it's a responsible way to approach a project. Use the staff that we have because we have very talented individuals that work for us and they do a fantastic job. You folks have seen the fruits of their labor between the pool renovation at the annex, the Eagle Academy, how beautiful Stowe came out. So obviously we always like to utilize our staff at DPW here first. Once we get out of a realm of size or we got to bring in special materials and equipment, it kind of falls outside of that. Then we bring in the subcontractors, but we still pair our labor as much as we can. So a great example of that is kind of like how we handled a lot of the work at Eagle Academy. There's a few things that we sub out, like fire alarms. We always get a fire alarm guy, but we'll have our electrician do all the hard data pulls. So, we're minimizing even our subcontractors' cost to incur on us. So we always try to work collectively when we go out to design for larger projects, such as some of these vestibules and stuff. In our RFPs that we issue to our architects, we're saying we know we're going to do certain work. It's going to be up to, them to help us figure out what we can and can't, and then, provide cost estimates based on what. We always want to spend money wisely.
Yeah, and Jeff, I just want to just mention that the recreation department, the work that they're doing over the annex, your workers are very talented and they're doing a fine job in that process right now.
Thank you very much, Councilor Corsati. I'll make sure I'll send a note and pass it along because I do love to spread the good word. Again, these gentlemen and ladies that work for us, they're very dedicated and they're kind of like unsung and unnoticed sometimes. Maybe that's just they're just such a great group of people. They have such great spirits and any praises I love to pass it forward to because I really truly believe they deserve it. They're great assets to the town. They're very responsible stewards to our facilities and structures, and they work their hearts out every day.
Yes, yep. Agreed.
Okay. Any more questions, comments, concerns, clarifications? Okay, energy performance contract.
So we got our latest and greatest review. Nothing too unusual there. Legal, town attorney's office has been involved. There's movement with finance and certain things going on with contracts. So I'm going to be very careful, but I will probably have a lot more to report next meeting.
Okay,
But it's favorable to the direction that we were looking to pursue.
great. That's what I want to hear. Thank you. Okay. Green Bank.
And clean
Hey,
energy. in
Melissa.
general. Two things we've got. Is Jaime with us?
Yes, he is.
Great. Okay. So we're just compiling the Eversource for alternative account numbers for the buildings to get that request off for the assessment. And Jeff, if we need you, can we call you in the morning maybe? Or
Tomorrow?
yeah, or just watch email with one.
I would just say, send me an email, let me know when you're looking to go, and I'll make sure I can, take your call.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's just compiling it in the right spreadsheet. And Jaime, our quiet member, Jaime Cisneros, has indicated that he wants to get more involved in the Clean Energy Subcommittee. And so we have a proposal. Jaime, do you want to start or should I?
I think you should do it. It's fine.
So Jaime's finished his MBA and is still working as an engineer, but has some more time. And we're thinking, as we're getting more active with clean energy and having these buildings assessed, and as you're drudging so hard on all these things, we'd like to offer on this agenda slot 3 to 5 minutes every time. It's just a little enrichment, just a little. Jaime's proposing a little on solar carports, a little on, you know, could be microgrids, things we might want to learn about in the future. So under 5 minutes, but we'll start offering that. And you can, and if you yawn profoundly, we will make it 2 minutes.
Okay, do you want to catch everybody up, Melissa, on what we actually did over the past month?
Yeah, I mean, you and I, Donna, have just put in a spreadsheet, the buildings that this committee approved, and we need their electric account numbers, and we will send them to the Connecticut Green Bank for their program called Municipal Action Plan, where they do a no-cost assessment of their potential for solar on roofs and in a couple cases ground. And we've got all the roof, you know, age data and everything that they'll need. So they will come back to us with that assessment probably in the next month or two. And we'll have the opportunity to request a proposal for what's called a power purchase agreement, which they bring forward. So it's basically installing solar and selling us the electricity at a price lower than we're paying now. Or we can just use the data that they give us for future investment if we decide that we want to own solar arrays in the future. But all that will happen when we get the data back.
Right, and this is for 2022, correct?
Probably, yes. They're working ahead, but we don't know how far ahead until we get the data in.
All right, so this is something that has been looked at before. No one's ever moved forward with any solar, but now may be the time that, you know, technology changes and things change. And, you know, what Green Bank offers is they can get the federal funding that the municipalities are not privy to, and we get a power purchase agreement, so we do not have to worry about any maintenance, purchase, or disposal. Correct?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not federal. It's actually their state money that we all pay into.
Right.
But so anyway, this committee has approved it. Just wanted to update you, and we're very excited.
Okay, any comments from the committee?
Thank you for your hard work on that, Jaime and
It's okay, I
Melissa.
was in Baltimore for 3 hours in a layover. 3 hour and 20-minute flight, 3 hour layover.
So Donna, it was Donna's hard work, but she needed airport activity.
Yeah, yes, I had to stay in my bubble.
All right, onward.
All right, so I think we're moving forward with Green Bank, and we'll see how those numbers come in, and they'll be presented to the council, and then be able to move forward with it. Once we see them, they make sense, we'll move them forward. Probably should move them forward anyway, just so people have an understanding of, I guess, what these costs are and what power purchase agreements are. And I think that we all need to educate ourselves on all this stuff. Transfer station. We got everybody got the plans. We reviewed the plans. Jeff, any updates on that?
We're getting a cost estimate, I believe, based on the design that was approved by the committee. I know there were some suggestions that Donald was working with Merrick with to get an answer. I don't have that information at the moment, but I'm anticipating it's going to be, you know, one of those things we put into capital planning. So everything seems to be on track and looking good.
Okay, sounds good. Well, just, you know, it'll go into budget discussion, so it just would be nice if this committee could just see, you know, what you're going to be putting in, where you put it in, and that way if people ask us questions, we can make intelligent answers.
Absolutely.
So
I think the design is pretty much, with the exception of some of the fencing information, I think that's going to be the ideal layout based on the drainage and the soil sampling and the septic tank. So, and I think the way Donald was presenting it last meeting, we're going to go for the clouds. We're going to go for everything we ever wanted and some, and I think that's going to be the driving point of the cost estimate when that comes in to see what it will actually take to build.
Right, we'll just have deduct alternates and whatever can fit into the budget will fit into the budget. But for me, priority is to get water and proper septic to the site. I mean, that's my priority. Any more comments, questions on the transfer station? Okay, master plan. I got emailed on the 25th. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to review it. Anybody have any questions or concerns as to what the final draft was? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve that final draft.
I make a motion to approve the final draft from,
Email to us on
emailed to us on January 25th, 2020.
2021.
2021, I'm sorry, 2021 from BL Companies.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, can I show of hands?
Aye.
Aye.
Gina? You're all set.
Sorry, aye.
Okay, and we have everyone here present is in favor. Okay. So I think based on our budget and what we had to do, everybody, I think came out pretty well. And the staff seems to have embraced it and are moving forward with a lot of the recommendations. So good work, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jeff, do we want to do the invoice under new business?
Under new business.
Okay.
It'll be under new business.
Got it.
Okay, joint facilities communication. We have the link in there that I'm going to leave in there. Scott, you have anything else you want to add?
Nope. Once we have more to share on the referendum, we can post that. And we've continued to share updates from the town manager and a couple other things that I thought made sense to share under the Joint Facilities Committee heading. So we're continuing to do that.
Good, because we shared the Fermi, not the Fermi, but the annex pool is there, and you shared.
And also, the JFK building updates.
Right. Oh, great. And the
as well as our agendas and minutes.
Plan for the town manager.
Yep, and town manager. I also share specific town council meetings if we had a presentation or a purpose to be in them. So yeah, we're moving forward and sharing things that make sense on that page.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay.
Speaking of JFK, I have some pictures from today's walkthrough. Do we want to do them now or under new business?
Let's do them under new business. How's that sound?
Okay.
Let's do BL's invoice, and this is the last invoice for them. The project is 100% complete. So I need a motion to add to the agenda.
So motion to add.
Okay. And the invoice number, do you have it, Walter? I do have it.
Yeah, I do. I'm making a motion to add BL Companies invoice dated August 28th, 2020, invoice number 1900317.00-14 for $1,250.
And that's the motion to add. Can I show you?
Motion to add.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jonathan. Show of hands to add. We're in favor of adding it. Thank you. Okay, everybody's all in favor of adding it. Now I have a motion to approve.
So I'll make a motion to.
Go ahead, Walter.
Okay, I'm unmuted. All right. I'll make a motion to approve invoice number 1900317.00-14 dated August 28th, 2020 from BL Companies in the amount of $1,250. This is the final invoice.
Second.
Second by Tim, all in favor, show of hands. Okay, all in favor? So Jeff, are you all set with that to go to Deb?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to present that final payment. I know the committee's had a lot of input over the last almost 2 years with this project. And after that draft review that was sent out the 25th, this would complete that last segment of that cost analysis. And they have sufficed their scope of services in that proposal. So we're completed.
Okay. Thank you. And thank you for the stuff that you've implemented already. I think the staff has really embraced what's been done.
Thank you. I'll pass that along. I know the staff here, and we've been working very hard to be proactive and embrace a lot of the recommendations.
Yeah, it's great because we always hear, gee, studies are just done and they sit on the shelf. Well, this committee, I don't think anything we've done has sat on the shelf. So that being said, Walter, we'll add to the, let's do you under committee comments. Why don't
Okay,
you-
so we'll do it under committee comments. So let me share my screen.
Okay.
And this is my first time doing this, so.
I think that's the advantage. We've learned a lot of stuff this year.
All right, everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, hold on, let me, I want to get the, why is this not working? Okay, I want to get to a point where there we go, okay, all right. Back up. Okay, so this is the blue. No, that's not the start yet. Right here is the start. Okay, so this is the first floor of the blue wing, which should be opening up next week. That's one of the classrooms with the module desks, whiteboards. That was a duplicate.
I like the clear glass to the hallway.
Yeah, so I got a picture of that coming up. There's the wood, the carpentry work in these are the science rooms. This is the boys' bathroom. I didn't take a picture of the girls' bathroom because I wasn't allowed in there.
Walter, is that a sink or a urinal?
The same. One more of the classrooms. This is the cafetorium. I never had a picture of this, so I took one. I'd be back up to it. So this is where they serve lunches temporarily.
Oh, okay. That's the transition, Walter?
Yeah, that's in the auditorium, and that's what they built. We're standing on the stage taking a picture of it.
Okay.
So I thought that was neat to see. And then that's some switch here in the that's over in the auditorium wing. And this is a view from the stage looking out to the auditorium. And one other picture of the stage. And that's the upper level of the auditorium. Going to be on steps. That is the hallway. That will be the new entrance to the auditorium. So I'm standing like I'm coming out from the back of the school. And that's the outside view of the auditorium. And this is the cafeteria. That's the old pool. That's the wall from the pool.
Oh.
So we're literally standing where the pool was.
Wow.
And that's going to be the new kitchen in one of the old locker rooms. And then I think I got a few more. That's the hallway. Oh, that's the gym on the right side, which the windows are blocked. The doors are blocked off. And there's another picture of the auditorium from the. And this is one of the music rooms. Either orchestra or band. And then that's the hallway Going
Walter,
back to
that
the,
was Blackwing that became the music?
That's the old black one.
the old Blackwing, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Tim, pipe in anytime because
Sure.
this is one of the this is the girls' locker room, the new girls' locker room. And then that's the stairs going up to the second floor. And we got some more pictures from second floor rooms. And that's the lockers. So they're like backpack size now.
Okay.
And just some temperature controls. And another configuration of another classroom with the woodwork in the back. And that's the transitional windows that we put in from the hallway to the classrooms.
Yeah, those are really nice.
Yeah, much
Fantastic.
larger. And then that's a second floor hallway. And that's the stairs at the end of the wing.
I like the lighter colors, Walter.
Yeah, and I think that's it. These are just repeat now. So let me exit this.
They're moving in there on Tuesday.
Yeah, they're moving all this weekend. So by Tuesday,
Tuesday, they're gonna open up in there.
they don't have school. So Thursday will be the first day of school. They don't have school on Tuesday because the teacher is professional day and then, professional development day, and then Wednesday's remote day. So Thursday will be their first time in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's all I have. Go ahead, Scott.
No, I was just going to say my daughter specifically is a Blue Wing student, so she's excited to experience this. I'm glad that this is working out. I'm glad this progress has been made. So she'll be going to school for the first time as a Blue Wing student on Thursday, February 18th, and she's looking forward to it as well as her classmates because their temporary classroom for the last X amount of months has been the library. So this is going to be a big deal for these kids. So I'm glad we're this far along.
Yeah, they're taking the temporary. All the students out of temporary are going into the blue because that's where they've been. And they're taking the white classrooms. Are going to go into temporary.
And the
Okay,
white
so
wing
white
is the next wing.
chapter.
Yeah.
I like how they did the stairs going upstairs. There's no more hiding places underneath the stairwells, which I think is.
That's a good point there, Bob.
Broken.
Well, because over the years, we found many students doing some things they shouldn't be doing there.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a good thing. I think that's a very important key point.
And I want to publicly thank CSG, who's on our meeting with us. They do a great job with all the ordering and going through all that, and also Gil Bain and also the architect. Excellent job. JCJ, yes. So thank you very much.
The best too is how much lighter it is. You notice it right off the bat, especially with those clear windows up top. It's really nice.
Even the doors too. The doors, just the lighter color of the doors makes a difference. The cabinetry and all that too.
Yep.
And up on the second level, they were able to raise the ceiling so you feel even more open. So,
excellent.
And that building's fully air conditioned, correct?
Yes, it is. They're also 5.5 weeks, I think, ahead of schedule. And Walter, I believe they're under budget right now because
I believe they're still under budget. Yes.
Yeah. So we don't like it to be.
And that's what Enfield does. Enfield does everything under budget. So.
Well, hats off to the workers for staying safe and healthy under these conditions.
200 days, 200 safe work days was listed on the building today. So
fantastic.
Thank you for mentioning that. I was going to mention that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And they're with working with this COVID too. They're just doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say.
Great. Any more comments or from the committee? Next meeting will be I hear somebody.
Oh, I just said good work.
Oh, thanks, Melissa. Next meeting will be the 25th of February.
Sounds good.
And, okay, and motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Tim, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Good
you,
night, everyone.
everybody.
Good night,
Thank you.
See you on the 25th. Everybody stay safe. Thank you.
You too.